All right, good morning, gang. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies today, and watch for some slick spots on the roads. Might see some sunshine, but going to be blustery today. Daytime highs, upper 20s to maybe near 30, if we're lucky. Right now, we're hovering at a balmy 17 degrees. Nice stretch of warm weather, but yeah, we're back into winter now. I have with me, I am so honored to have DJ Barry with me as my guest this time around on the Aired Out podcast. You know, we were just chatting. It was a year ago that you were here, my man. It was just about.
Yes, thank you, by the way,
maybe,
for having me back.
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks, shy, something like that of a year.
Yeah, thank you, JD. It's a pleasure.
My man, it is an absolute pleasure to have you here. So much has happened in a year's time.
Yes.
My God, dude. we kind of, we were kind of suggesting that when I had you in here last, that it was going to be a year that you needed to buckle up for. It was going to be busy because things are still just on the upswing for you.
Yes, they are. I think this year is very, very busy and faster than I was hoping it would go.
Yeah.
Specifically because we're standing up a new nonprofit and a foundation that's going to kind of carry the torch for World Cow and continue spreading kindness, but also do all the great things nonprofits do and support charities around the world. And we last year I had to turn down some awards and money because people's their companies were voting World Cow as the nonprofit of the year. I think we were also nominated in Europe.
Seriously?
For similar awards, and we weren't a nonprofit at the time. It was just, the brand and movement that I started. So now we're doing it kind of right. And with the new nonprofit, we'll be able to accept public support and do even more. So I'm very excited, but there's a lot. It's like starting a whole new business, and it's a lot that I was hoping to kind of take all this year to sort of build. And I've got a great board, and I've got a great foundation for it. But due to some unforeseen circumstances and some potential very big fundraising events this month happening at the end of the month, I've had to fast track a lot of things that I was thinking I'd take all year to do. So this last month or two has just been really a lot of legal and accounting and paperwork and stuff that's kind of like a hurricane,
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. So you've put in some late nights.
Yeah. It's almost like when you buy a house, all those different processes that you have to go through.
Sure.
And I'm very fortunate to have a very experienced board member that's gone through all this. That is kind of taking me under her wing.
Yeah. Thank God, huh?
But yeah, it's a lot, and but it also gets you ahead of the game. And in the end, if you fast track all these type of things, you're that much closer to doing more for the world. So it all happens for a good reason.
It's kind of like you're blindfolded on a roller coaster. You're not sure when the next dip is going to take, and you can go from 0 to 60 real fast.
Yeah, I have this amazing calendar cutout wisdom that my wife put on my keyboard recently, and it is when your life's a hurricane like this, you need to speak from the center and find that rather than react to the chaos around you. So I can find myself at times, or I catch myself reacting to the chaos when there's so much going on, but at the same time, that's when I can ground myself, and I realize that I need to speak from that center and command that chaos from within. And so it's a lot of trying to find calmness in the middle of it while it's all going around you.
I don't think you saw any of this coming. I mean, you're a Vermont artist, but everything kind of just fell on your lap. I almost want to say that just the inception of all this was almost for lack of a better term, kind of like a mistake. It just happened, and it took on a life of its own.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it was a mistake necessarily, but I think it's the snowball effect where
Yeah.
if you know, have something good and strong,
Right.
and you give it a push
Yes.
downhill, we're at the point now where, it's big enough to roll over mountains.
Oh yeah, and it is right now.
It is.
It's
It
got
is.
momentum right now, which is so. So what's the deal? So you're an artist. You live right here in Vermont.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
Middlesex.
Yeah, Middlesex. Where'd you go to school?
Well, I graduated from Rumney Elementary.
Okay.
And then I went to U32 and graduated from U32 High School in 2003.
Tell me about mom and dad and your childhood.
My childhood, so my parents split when I was around 12 years old, and that was very difficult. My dad was traveling a lot, so we didn't see him. And we kind of started over with my mom, built a cabin in the woods in Middlesex. And yeah, just kind of my brother and I with my mom grew up there. And, she's worked at the hospital forever here up on the hill.
Wow.
And in the IT department. And so sometimes after school, we'd go there and play solitaire on the computer until it was time to go home.
Yeah.
And but now she works from home, so she's still doing that stuff. She actually still lives in Middlesex, and we're about a mile away from each other, so we see her
That's
quite
so great.
often. Yeah,
So great.
We can walk through the woods and snowshoe to Grandma's house,
That's awesome.
and it's great for my daughter
Oh
especially.
yeah, of course. So how did this all happen? You were just you just decided to start painting cows.
Yeah, well, Cows for a Cause is where it all started, and that's when I was dressing up as a cow painting Holsteins, and I was stenciling them with spray paint, and I would donate 50 to 100% of all my art sales to local charities in Vermont. I went to, even if it was a high school kid having a special fundraiser up in, say, Jericho, we would just kind of pop around and attend these fundraisers. Maybe I had one canvas or two canvases on display.
Sure.
Sometimes I'd sell prints of the cows, but
Why did you decide to do that? What was?
Well, I was doing a lot of other spray paint stencils, like pop culture things, like Darth Vader drinking a heady topper, and
Nice.
just kind of fun Photoshop type things. But we always had the cow. The cow was an actual real cow in Craftsbury that I photographed. And so I'd have a table if I did a farmer's market, and I would mention Cows for a Cause. Anything cow-related would be this benefit. And people really liked the cow. And a lot of people couldn't understand that it was made with spray paint. So I think that when you see Vermont artists and everybody painting cows, Woody Jackson,
Right.
nobody was seeing this kind of different medium, and I was really into Banksy at the time and doing graffiti art. And
I was going to talk with you about Banksy.
yeah, so at that time, I was like, wow, people really like these cows, and
Yeah.
they're doing good. I'm selling more because people are also realizing that I'm donating 50% to the American Cancer Society, homeless shelters. We worked with the New Place. And so then as it took off, I needed to simplify the design. And long story short, the world map is a kind of universally accepted public domain design to use, very
Yes.
spotty.
Yes.
And it was just a cool image. It was World Cow, but it wasn't the message, we're all spots in the same cow, and sort of that global movement. That happened after the fact. So it was my family kicking around the island, and somebody says, we're all spots in the same cow. And
Wow.
we all realize, well, this is more than just a cool image. This is, a message that the world really could use.
Yeah.
And so the rest, it just kept growing from there. And now
Did you
it's-
freak out when you heard that? We're all spots in the same cow.
It gives it so much more meaning
Sure.
than just, photoshopping images together.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the first person to say let's put a world map on a cow. I immediately Googled it after I had the idea, and I saw some photos and Photoshop stuff, but I didn't see anybody really doing art with it.
Yeah.
Like paintings and stencils
handcrafting it,
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, so I just went from there. I got the copyright and right away, and now we have over 30 trademarks in 30 different countries. And,
What?
yeah, I just kept building that, portfolio, and that allows us to now partner and with all kinds of companies that want to use our image, and I license it all over the place. And hence the foundation comes in beforehand when a company, say a creamery in Georgia, Creamery in Georgia just asked to print World Cow shirts. Last year, if they did that, just like Mount Mansfield Creamery here in Vermont did, that would be, a royalty deal where I'd get maybe $1 or $2 for a shirt for them using that image. Well, now with the foundation, that deal is actually they donate that $1 or $2 to the foundation. So in theory, if I have 100 of these places across the country making chocolate, making T-shirts, making World Cow, whatever, that's how we're going to grow the foundation.
Using that brand.
So using that brand, we'll be able to start getting more and more donations to come in, and I think that's how it'll really start growing. So that's sort of what I've been doing lately, is trying to make those deals.
So some of the charities that this supports, Super Troopers in Cape Town, South Africa, Save the Children, Farms to Grow, the Center in Vegas. We're going to talk about that, about Vegas. Special Olympics Vermont. I mean,
those are all new. So those are all newly selected charities as part of that project that we're going to talk about.
Right.
The partnership with Tutu. They're a gallery based out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, and you just returned from Vegas.
Yes, I did. I was there early March, spray painting cows all over the Arts District. Now they have 4 World Cow murals there. And I'll be back. We're going to do some big ones probably later this year.
So tell me about Tutu Art.
Yeah, so Tutu Art is a gallery. Their partners are all over the world, and they specialize in the NFT metaverse space. And when I was getting curious about NFTs and seeing other artists dive into it, I started Googling what galleries, handle this. Okay. And I found some articles about them, so I sent them a message. I said, hey, I'm DJ Barry with World Cow, and I want to get into this space. And they really liked what we were doing. So they kind of took us under our wing. They built this website. It's this whole generative art software where it randomly gives you a World Cow NFT. You might have a flag background. And a significant percentage of those sales are all going to go to these new charities that we're selecting and working with. So the foundation will always have our core charities,
sure,
which are the ones we've historically helped out.
Right.
So we have several in Vermont. We have in the Congo, where we're painting World Cows with different villages there and supplying them with art supplies. And then in India, we have a group that we work with that helps children growing up in poverty, supplying art supplies, refreshments. So we're always going to help them out. But now with the metaverse and the NFT space, we're going to expand those charities and start working more with them. And you're going to see, I think, in the near future, a lot more features about them, the work they do. Save the Children specifically is a very new one that we selected because they're really on the front lines with Ukraine.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do some immediate sort of Ukraine NFT World Cows
fundraisers. Saw those.
And
they're all over your Facebook page.
That's part of the LA event that's happening this week. It's a big thing called NFT LA. It's a huge convention.
Okay.
So they're making Ukraine ones that they're going to auction off at the event, and Save the Children will be one of those main benefits.
Now, do you have a flight booked yet for LA?
No. Imagine I'd get the definite answer today since the event's Friday. But I think what I did have to do was ship them a very large canvas, and I'd like to give a huge shout out to Capital Copy in Montpelier for
I saw that
for really pulling through.
Yes.
Annabelle, thank you. They told me literally a few days ago, earlier in the last week, that they needed a 4-foot canvas for this VIP event of a Ukraine World Cow. And I don't usually paint a lot of canvases, especially that big, but I knew to get it 2-day shipping to Las Vegas, to LA, this could break the bank here. So I said, I'll do this. So I had to make a whole new stencil. I got a canvas at the drawing board in Montpelier and just quickly painted this, and then brought it to Capital Copy to get it 2-day shipping so that it arrives in time. It should arrive today.
And what's the size of it?
It's 4 feet by 3 feet. And This one's really special. This one's going to a VIP event, and they're going to get the celebrities to sign it all around the outside. And then as each celebrity signs it, they'll take photographs with it, and they'll make NFT instances of it. They'll give that to the celebrity, but then they'll auction off the painting at the end with all the celebrity signatures, and as well make a final NFT of that artwork, all for the benefit of Ukraine.
Dude, this is like giving me goosebumps here. I mean, what you've done, and it all started with, if my memory is serving me from a year ago when you were on the podcast, with you basically saying to your wife, "Do I have this right? Stop! I need to take a picture of that cow right there."
Yes, yeah, it was all on a drive on my birthday in Craftsbury, and it was up against the road, and I took a photo of it, and it's still that same cow. Really, the middle world spots are the ones that we changed, but yeah, it's amazing. And now we've got proposals in Kansas, Texas. The 150th anniversary of Tunbridge Fair wants us down there this year, and Washington State doing more with Girl Scouts in the West Coast and Dairy Gold, and also London we're doing a lot. So I'm planning on going to Germany, Berlin for Festival of Lights in October, and the calendar this year is already tight, so it's going to be challenging. But yeah, I'm not a huge travel road guy, but it kind of makes sense for the brand and the movement and the foundation that it's on the road. It's in other places, and I can't just hide here in Vermont as much as I'd love to.
So how is your wife involved with this? What is she doing? Because I'm guessing that you need to focus on what it is that you're doing, and not necessarily all of the particulars of how much is coming in and what's being done.
Right. So we have an amazing partnership. She is extremely supportive, Cynthia, and we have to coordinate around each other. I mentioned my daughter's 7. Yeah. One thing that'll help my wife, I think, is on some of these trips, especially since a lot are in the summer, that I take my daughter with me, especially the Girl Scouts one. I mean, why can't my daughter come hang out with the Girl Scouts and help paint a big cow?
Of course.
She's that age now where that's going to help, I think, is to be that way my wife can still work, and if I'm on the road, it's not too taxing on the family, because I don't want to be away from the family all the time.
Yeah, right.
But taking my daughter with me, she's 7. She's going to see the world.
Yeah.
She's an extra set of hands.
Of course.
So I think there's a lot. That's what's going to happen this year to kind of help this transition and everything. But yeah, I just I have to pick and choose those places that I want to go to now. And the Tunbridge Fair would be amazing. I mean, that 150. I haven't been. I'm not sure I've ever been. But if I was, it was probably when I was young and can't remember.
Yeah.
But that just sounds like such an amazing event for World Cow. Such cow, just friendly environment in general, farming and
the ultimate.
Right. So maybe we'll blow up the big inflatable cow for that one.
Oh my God, man! How are you doing all this? I mean, I just. How do you schedule the time? I mean, here we're coming into the warmer months here in New England. You must be booked up.
I am pretty much. I think what's hard is because I want to do more in Vermont. I have to just pick and choose and prioritize. And this year I wanted to prioritize the foundation, and that's a lot of capital to start up. And also, it kind of makes me ignore my other side of the art business while I get that up and running. So it is difficult to do that. Like, one thing I'm slipping on is the clothes, and the retail.
Yeah,
I just don't have the time right now to
to
deal with T-shirts. So I'm trying to work through that and figure out how to either get help for that or. But right now I'm just focused on
you have to
LA this week and things like that, and Las Vegas with Tutu. And these NFTs are great because the ones that, and we have links on our website, we have this $25 cow where it's $25. Now, of course, you need MetaMask, a crypto wallet, to do it.
Yeah.
But each $25 cow randomly generates a flag in the background of the cow.
Yeah.
And so we're doing it where the first person that gets a Ukraine flag will win a painting from me. I'll ship them a Ukraine World Cow painting. So that's one giveaway we're doing. We also have on our foundation website, which is really new. I haven't been advertising it yet just because I just barely built it. But worldcowfoundation.org is the site. And we're also doing a Ukraine painting. It's a 3-foot by 2-foot giveaway. So anybody that donates to the World Cow Foundation will be automatically entered to win that painting. And it doesn't matter how much you donate.
Yeah, I'm just seeing this on Tutu. For every 100 limited edition World Cows sold, you basically buy them back.
Yeah, that's another thing where
this is amazing.
Yeah, so they have a gold edition at World Cow NFTs. I believe they're $250 each.
Yeah.
And every 100 sold, they actually offer to buy back one of yours for $1,000. And it's just one of the many giveaways of being part of that metaverse community. And what I like about the NFTs and the metaverse, which is still so new to me, is it introduced the movement into a space promoting kindness where, for example, cyberbullying exists, online in that sort of whole environment. It needs kindness. And the internet especially, if you ever go on WCX or somebody's news post and you just see all these hateful comments,
especially now.
So it's so so I think by growing the herd in the digital space, also doing it in the physical here, we'll do a lot of good for the world. And those NFTs will benefit those charities we were talking about. The Super Troopers I'm really excited about, and I'd love to just mention them. They're in Cape Town, and they help the homeless in Cape Town, South Africa, and they have these programs, where they Super Troopers, that food that they can do, and they food assistance, but also shelter. I asked them, I said, did you see the movie Super Troopers? Being a Vermonter, and they were unaware, that I was like, you guys have the best name, Super Troopers. But we talked about, we're going to get them some World Cow stencils that they'll be able to make art with the guests. And then actually have art shows in their shelter where, like, if somebody sells the painting, that can go to that guest. So it kind of, they'll be able to sort of have their own art show and kind of celebrate that, and go around Cape Town with the stencils and paint cows everywhere.
It's incredible. Sherilyn, my wife, is from England. And we were talking about you last night. She's like, he's got to know Banksy. He's got to know Banksy. Banksy is basically an unknown person who goes around. Is it the world or just England? I don't know. But paints his trademark, or her. We don't know. We don't know who Banksy is.
I have friends that know.
Really?
And I just
really?
And but I would say Banksy is definitely more than one person these days. And there's a very big collective and group. A lot of the murals that he'll do in minutes are pretty big scale, and I think he's got a big team. But I'm not sure I've seen anything Ukraine by Banksy, which is kind of odd. He usually will only post every couple of months these days, but definitely my biggest inspiration. I mean, that's after watching Exit Through the Gift Shop with Banksy, that's when I wanted to learn how to cut a stencil out and start using spray paint. Which, is also hazardous. So I'm glad once the weather warms up here, I can get back outside because it's really hard.
So basically you get commissioned, for lack of a better term, to paint a mural of the World Cow on the side of a barn, a building. I'm guessing a few other interesting spots
Yeah.
that are high off the ground.
Yes. Yeah. We did one in September last year in Washington State, in Sunnyside, on the side of Darigold, and that one we had an 80-foot lift. It was 66 feet wide and 44 feet tall. The cow, which is bigger than Salem Sioux, the current, or was the world's biggest cow, that big sculpture in the Dakotas. So I always get people saying that too, like, you know, Salem Sioux, we're by the biggest Holstein in the world. And I just, you know, I bite my tongue. So I'm like, well, we painted one a little bit bigger, but we won't, you know, I don't know how to talk to Wikipedia or those people to fix that. But,
Sure.
but either way, it was an enormous cow that you can see by the interstate out there. And it was really fun. It was 93 hand-cut stencils that were all 6 feet tall by 3 feet wide.
Oh, my
And
God.
we did it on the lift live. We cut them on the wall using magnets to hold the paper to the metal siding and X-Acto knives to cut every island out in that world map.
And you're trying to stay focused on what you're doing. You're dealing with Mother Nature, rain, wind.
So it's a lot different out there. That we had the driest. It's a desert, you know, where Sunnyside was a desert. So we got really lucky. There's no way I'd pull off a cow that big here in Vermont without having months. I felt like, but we painted that in 7 straight days, no breaks, first thing in the morning till nighttime. And that was intense, but yeah, you need those. That's what I love about Vegas too. Is in Vegas the conditions are absolutely perfect. Vermont is so hard. Is really just the weather changes so quickly, the wind, the moisture. One of the first things I have to do is go back and fix a mural that I did in Vermont at the end of last season because it was just getting too cold and the paint didn't quite cure in a lot of places, so I got to fix that. And that's just the stuff you struggle with such a short mural season here in Vermont. You almost have to go out west.
Now, when you're closer to the ground and you're doing this, I'm guessing there's a lot of people that are taking pictures. They're stopping. They're trying to talk to you. Maybe the media shows up. How do you field all that and stay focused on what you're doing?
I love waving at the kids and everything like that, but I won't usually talk to anybody else, you know. So when we were doing that big mural, I had to stay focused. But that's part of it. Is it's a community, thing. So having, I want to do that with more of our big murals. Is have more of the community hands-on under my guidance. You know, paint part of the leg, paint part of this world, especially if it's
so cool.
If it's like an 8-foot cow, you know, one that kids can get to from the ground.
Yeah.
But anything bigger than that, the 16-foot wide ones and everything, you're on extension ladders.
Right.
You can't really invite, you know, a little kid up there.
So safe to say that you are not afraid of heights.
No, not anymore. Not
anymore.
That it took me a long time to get used. Actually, the one in Washington was so scary. It wasn't even the original wall we were supposed to paint. I got there, and unlike all the photographs we saw, there was this huge slant in the ground where I was trying to calculate the actual boom on the lift, the distance away from the wall, and like whether or not we were safe. I thought it was an ideal conditions for an absolute disaster.
Sure.
So we had to switch walls because it was too dangerous. And even then, when we're up just 80 feet up or whatever, it's frightening.
What about a water tower a couple 100 feet?
Oh yeah.
Have you been asked about that?
Not yet. No.
I just did.
Oh no. I mean, there's ways to do it. I feel like there's painting a big cow like that was a once in a lifetime opportunity, but also a challenge to really grow.
Yeah.
But I don't really feel like I have to prove myself by painting another giant, huge cow, because the 16-foot cows that we do where people can take selfies with, like the one in Burlington off Cherry Street and Trip Street.
Yeah.
That's great. That gets the message out. Even the really little ones still gets the message out. You don't.
Right.
you don't need to paint, you know, 100-foot cow now that I did a 66-foot wide one.
Sure. I know I'm giving you horrible ideas here, but you know, hot air balloons. I mean, who's going to make a World Cow hot air balloon?
Oh, that would be amazing. I mean, I know I've seen the sailboats in Burlington. I've seen them partner with local artists to do like custom sails, which is pretty cool. I mean, yeah, that'd be. People ask for flags sometimes, and things like that. Like somebody in Groton wanted a flag for their camp, and you know, we can do anything like that. Especially those one-offs. Like if somebody wanted a big balloon, that'd be really cool.
Oh my God! So you essentially on your website you sell the stencils.
Not yet. I'm working with Mangan Labs, John Mangan in Essex. We have a new oil board stencil, like a small set for classroom and for anybody that we're working on now that we will have available very soon. I have different schools that want to work with us, kids and classes and teachers.
I think that's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
It's the way it should be.
Yeah, so that's what we're working on that right now. And we do get requests for people to buy them all the time, so that they will be available on our website. But mostly they're for the classroom, like reaching kids.
Right.
For example, the center is a LGBTQ plus biggest center in Vegas, you know, a nonprofit that supports the youth there with so many programs.
Yep.
That was one we talked with. We had a meeting with them, and I'm trying to get these stencils, and they're going to be one of our first group that will ship them a bunch. And then I'll remotely work with the kids, talk about World Cow. We'll make cows together and all that stuff.
That is so amazing. Would you consider maybe doing something right here in Barrie for a new community center that is just opening up this June called Rainbow Bridge?
I would, and somebody that's doing this, Greg, sent me a message yesterday on Facebook.
Yeah, he's watching right now.
And I contacted Greg and asked for a quick email just because my social media messages get lost. And I'm very interested. And so this type of thing I bring to the email level.
Yeah. It's about 150 yards to my
really
behind me.
Right on here on Main Street?
Right here. Right
here.
Really?
Yeah. Very, very awesome. I would love to. Yeah, I mean, I'm very passionate about helping centers like that. And they, you know, World Cow's message fits really good.
Of course it does.
With that. We did a rainbow pride cow in Vegas. It was about 6 feet wide and right in the Arts District, and it was a lot of fun. Painted. You know,
wow.
We could do actually we want to go back to do a big giant trans one with the trans flag in the background. And we've consulted or talked with the LGBTQ plus community, and it seems like nowadays the trans group is having the hardest time. I mean, they're all having a hard time.
Yep.
But when we spoke with some of like these groups in the center in Vegas, it seemed like they could use a little extra help. So I've never done a really big cow with these groups before, or with the flags in the background. It's all the big cows are black and white.
Yeah.
So I'd love to go. We want to go back to Vegas and do a big giant mural where it's the huge trans, you know, flag in the background, and a big
good for you
support statement one. Yeah, we tried getting businesses in the Arts District to let us do that, and you know, it's tough. I mean, the black and white's neutral, and they feel safe saying yes to that.
Yeah,
but to get a business to let us do that was hard. And
there's so much division, dude. I mean, colors, everything. It's unbelievable.
It is. Yeah, it is. And you know, that's why I think that World Cow will be around way after I'm here, is because the world's going to need that message. And
your kid's going to be taking the baton here, man. You know that.
Yeah.
Already has.
She's a very talented artist, and I'm very excited to see. I think she's growing up in the culture, and yeah, you know, hopefully she wants to take that baton.
I noticed that when I see World Cow, I don't see Shannon Alexander is here taking some pictures, which we thank her so much. But I don't see your signature anywhere on the cow.
Oh, yes.
Anywhere. Have you noticed that, Shannon?
I'm not a signing. I feel this is so yeah, signatures. I get hard time all the time, and maybe I'm really terrible at branding at times when people want the hashtag World Cow.
Yeah,
the world spots the same cow, and I get it. So many
Yeah.
people just see a cow and they miss it. They miss the world.
They don't see what the spots are.
And I think so. My thing about that is I always felt that the cow will speak for itself in terms of branding, and will be a logo that will be universally recognized one day. But also just to have words nearby will always take the eyes off the art and will always draw the eyes, whether that's a good thing or bad thing. But to me, I just want people to experience the cow 100% without my name blocking it or without anything like that. But I signed
That's heavy, bro.
I signed the back of the stuff. So all the canvases and stuff, I sign and date the back. You know? But I can't do that on a mural. But that's a really tough call, because at the same time you're losing out on all kinds of branding, hashtagging, and
Right.
so it's a very tough call. But Banksy doesn't do that either, and you don't see him signing Banksy anymore on any of his murals
Or any hashtags away, distanced
Right.
away from the art.
It really is. Yeah, it's a label, and less labels the better, I think, for my work. But
Do you have friends? Do you have family that say, "Dude, you're crazy. You have to have at least the words World Cow somewhere in the vicinity of your art"? It is an icon.
exactly, it's an icon.
You
I
ever,
love
You
that.
ever have any fist fights with your friends about this?
No,
Or
but
anybody?
but there are people that put up a plaque afterwards with the info, and I love that. If the business wants to put up a plaque where you can read "We're all spots the same cow, World Cow."
Yeah.
I love that, and I think that's needed.
What about a billboard, a big ass billboard,
I
right
have
on
a
the
friend-
interstate,
A friend did, well, they don't have them here in Vermont,
right?
but
Somewhere.
yeah, a friend that I was seeing in Vegas did one. Very talented street artist, and I thought that was really cool. They did a whole billboard, like stenciled right over the billboard, and my buddy in New York City's tried to get me to rent one out. If I recall, it was like $30,000 for the month, and it's a little bit above what I
Wow.
can do for the billboard business.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing anything that I don't want to say the word illegal, but in a situation where you may have to ask for forgiveness?
Guerrilla
before-
marketing is, yeah, I love that. And, I will always ask permission when I paint my murals. I mean, usually now we're commissioned by businesses to do it, or
Yeah.
cities, municipals. But yeah, it's still fun sometimes to get out and add a little piece of art in a place that really could use it.
Yes.
I
I think a water tower at some point we've got a request in for that. I mean, I think if we were to sit and generate ideas, I think maybe 10 guys lowering out of a helicopter in the middle of the night, and everybody has a different job to do, and you got 10 minutes to do it.
Right.
You take Africa, I'll take the U.S. You do Australia, and we're out of here in 10 minutes.
I'm not sure how
Am I getting him
well
in trouble?
how that cow would come out. It's a really tricky
Bro, a couple
process.
headlamps, you're good.
Plus, it's a round surface. So
This is true.
I think painting a silo would be a good step up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So painting a silo
done a
first.
silo?
I have not, but I've always been fascinated with the fact that they're round. So executing a painting that you usually do flat on a round, I think would be really cool.
That's got to happen, dude.
I know that's a big job. You definitely need lifts for that, and there's a lot of paint probably needed for those.
So, $1 million question: what does it cost? You get a farmer, you get someone who calls you, contacts you, and says, "I want you to paint the side of my barn."
So that's on the list, is a menu of World Cow services and murals specifically, but we also do scavenger hunts. Norwich University hit 100 world cows during their winter carnival, winter festival.
This is the little wooden cow?
Yes.
I found one.
You did?
I found one.
You found in here? In Barrie?
At the Billings farm.
You found one there?
Found one.
Oh, we were there for the horse and carriage rides.
I was in the horse barn with Lily, and we're walking around, and I looked out, and son of a bitch, world cow right there. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Yes.
And then I took it, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm having fun with it, and I put it in my pocket, and Sherilyn was like, you put that back.
Oh no!
You put that back.
No, you're supposed to keep them. They're gone now, but
because she thought it was you put it back, but in a different spot. So
that's
did.
kind of like the Vermont Rocks thing.
Yes!
Some people hide them, some people put them back, some people keep them. But with ours, you definitely can keep them. And the idea is that cow will bring you positive energy, good vibes, and bring it on your travels.
Yeah.
Somebody recently took a picture of the Grand Canyon with their cow, and that's always really cool to see those photos. So yeah, that's funny. That was a really fun time because they had the horse and carriage rides.
Yes, right.
And sled rides.
Yeah,
and that's
right.
what we went down for. We were doing that. Yeah.
So can you buy a World Cow poster, banner, something that maybe we could put here or in the window or something?
Definitely, I could. For example, somebody wanted one, and I just sent them the image of the banner, and they went to their local print shop and made it, and that was fine with me. So if that was something that you wanted to do, just let me know, and happy to do that. I don't have them.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I love it. I love it's good support of our message. Each cow made, printed, grows the herd. So if you think of the herd, it's tens of thousands strong right now.
Yeah,
and 35 countries now.
35 countries.
Yeah, on any given day, I'm talking with people in half a dozen countries now on projects, and I've got a skydiver that wants to get a huge back tattoo in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and then he wants to help spread the word, paint it while he travels the world and stuff, and it's pretty unreal. A lot of people are getting tattoos now with it, which I love. I think that's really cool. If you want one, just send me an email and I'll send you the design for a tattoo.
God. So, and I'm guessing that there's maybe a few more of those.
The tattoos?
Yeah.
There's I don't know, more than a dozen that I've seen around the country, and somebody in Puerto Rico last year got one, and
oh my God,
now Brazil guy. But yeah, it's really cool. It's I think that we're doing the right things. I think that considering I don't spend a lot on marketing, actually, Battalions TV that came down, they're kind of like my global or my European market.
Right.
They're great, Marco and Erica. They came down and did a bunch of features here in Barrie. And they're sort of one of the only marketing outlets I use for just getting World Cow out in the Europe scene.
Right.
It's challenging to market a global brand,
of course,
and movement.
Banksy is incognito. You're not. But to have your art there, I think where there's a disconnect for me is if someone is in Berlin, Germany, they see the cow, how are they able to get involved with you? How are they able to find out who you are, find out who World Cow is, and support the cause and
well, I think
help your mission?
I mean, I think that at this point, if you Google World Cow or Cow Earth or anything like that, we're going to be getting up there in the top searches. So I think that just, again, this is the not having the signature or the hashtag World Cow.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people, will just see that cow in Berlin, and there are several in Berlin.
Germany.
Yeah. That we're doing an art show there this month or next month in April, and I'm really excited. It's the first canvas I shipped overseas, for a gallery. So that was fun.
Damn.
But yeah, so I think you're right. You know, people are going to miss it. And, but some people, so with our social media, we have 142,000 followers on TikTok now. And that crowd is really all around the world. So a lot of these videos, when I hide the cows, I post, what town are you from? And we're getting just hits everywhere. And I think those people, for example, might see that cow and say, it's a world cow. And it happens on Instagram all the time where somebody posts a picture of one and then somebody else on that thread be like, you found world cow.
Yeah.
So I think it will grow, and I think more recognition's coming. But it's still so new. It's still a bubble waiting to burst, you know? So it's still... it's reaching everywhere.
That's crazy that you have that mindset that it's still a bubble waiting to burst, because, you know, even a year ago, dude, this, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
This
What's
is
happened?
the year of travel now. So it's, I think that
It's
been a lot, but
will you stay in Vermont?
Always, yes. I love Vermont.
My God.
I am starting to love visiting a warm place for 1 week during the winter.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Disney World for the first time with my daughter in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
And that should be pretty amazing.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
you got your Fitbit going?
Oh yeah.
You can put some miles on those feet, brother.
I know. The hardest thing is not getting stuck into a line for hours. So they have all these apps now and inside intel where you can get to those places and not waste
everything. That's right. And time is of the essence.
Yeah. We're going to see my grandparents, really. So it's been a long time coming, and just that heat on your bones, though.
Sure, of course,
it feels so good.
Absolutely.
And it's been a cold winter here.
It has, and it is right now. But you know what? They don't have any maple syrup down there.
I know. I heard that's been doing pretty good too.
They don't. They don't even know that it comes from trees, dude.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Maple syrup. We went to the open house at Morse Farm and did the whole sugar on snow thing, and it was delicious.
Awesome.
I hid one there too.
Did you?
It still might be there. Everywhere I go, man.
Yeah. Have you ever driven down the road and just tossed a few out the window?
I've always wanted to videotape that just for fun, you know, like chucking one out into the woods. I think that'd be hilarious.
Helicopter drop.
Wow. I had somebody in Europe or in London that was supposed to put it on a little boat in the canal and just send it. I never saw that. Now that you just made me realize that. It's so hard. I have to follow up with all these people. Half the time I send cows to people, I never hear back, if not more. So, you know, they all say, yeah, I'm going to hide one for you in this country. And then just, you know, either it doesn't arrive or they're like, oh, I forgot. School's really busy right now.
Is there a vinyl graphic that you can put on the back of your car?
Yes, for World Cow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. If you can, my car's right there. There's cows all over it, on the sides, on the hood. There's a big one on the hood. Yipes, Bevins. Thank you guys.
Yes,
you guys hooked me up.
Amazing,
Val.
people.
Yeah.
Really? Is Val can get me one of those?
Oh yeah, Val could hook you up with a World Cow decal.
Okay.
I know we could start a gas club. You know, if you have one of the big decals, you know, you get $5 a month towards gas.
This is absolutely amazing what you're doing here, my man.
Thanks, Jake.
I mean,
Appreciate
I just is your wife interested in getting out and seeing the world with you and seeing the impact, or is she just busy enough running the show in Vermont?
No, she has her own business.
What?
Yeah, she is a sexual health promoter.
Oh my God.
And a pure romance consultant. So
wow.
She's been doing that strong. She has a team under her. If any girls out there need a ladies' night, definitely hit me up and I'll get you in touch with Cynthia. She's amazing. So she's very much busy with her own. I can't really bother her too much with this stuff.
I can't believe it. Yeah.
I got to kind of do this, you know, mostly myself. But with the foundation, this is the whole thing with the foundation is it's not just me. It's a board now.
Yeah.
And that will grow.
Where are these board members? Where do they live?
So Jenny Albert is our kind of expert on the nonprofit setup and everything. She is an amazing woman from California that now lives in Vermont. And she is the executive director of the Arts Bus. So if you've ever heard of the Arts Bus, they travel around, they do things with kids, with arts. And we met her at Camp Mead a couple of years ago, and she had us do Art in the Farm last year at Swag Farm. And we've just had a good relationship ever since. So she was kind of the first person that I thought of when it comes to building a nonprofit. Here's the most experienced person. And she's been a fan of World Cow and is a huge supporter. So she's on the board. And then Steve Davis, he is from the Houston area in Texas. He is a veteran. He's been in the service and been all over the place for the service. And very great guy. He's been a huge supporter of World Cow for many years. And he's the one that flew out to paint the big cow with me. And he just brings a whole solid foundation to the group. Nothing phases him. I mean, he's jumped out of airplanes hundreds of times, way up high for the Army or whatnot. So when it came to being on that lift, you know, he kept me in check. he was relaxed the whole time, and I'm like, you know. So I think the three of us, that was the minimum we needed to start it. But then obviously we're kind of wearing a lot of hats, so it'll grow. But that's the foundation to get it up and running. So it's registered with the state of Vermont. It's the World Cow Foundation. And now we're seeking the 501c tax exempt status, which is a process and takes months and months and months with the IRS. But going through all those motions, and we had our first board meeting, which was fun. And I think that there's a lot that's going to happen with that. I mean, I think everything's going to transition to that. So that's that, you know, eventually that's all I want to do is just do work for the foundation.
Yeah.
Right now I have to kind of juggle both and just go through the process of transitioning how I used to think back in the years. For example, the mural you said, like the menu for a mural. Last year, if you wanted a big cow, you know, maybe it was $1,500 for that painting. And that's my supply, my time, doing the mural, everything. Now this year, if you want that same big cow, it'll probably be $3,000, where $1,500 would still be my time, the materials, those services, but then another $1,500 go right to the foundation, and that could go right to the Congo and supply art supplies to 30 villages. I mean, so I think that's sort of the transition that I'm working on now is how do I incorporate the foundation? Businesses want to work with the foundation.
Yes.
They still might want to work with an artist and do that. He's a contractor, right?
Yeah.
But the foundation, now they'll be able to donate, tax write-off for them. But it just is better that they're working with a nonprofit and supporting the World Cow Foundation. It's just going to be better, I think, for everybody. It's just going to grow more attention to the movement and everything, to the foundation. I think that's the direction it should be. So I kind of have to approach all proposals right now with both, but it's all going towards the foundation.
Will you get to a point where you got a barn in New York or whatever, they want a cow, and you're commissioning someone who works with you and for you to go and paint that cow? Because you're busy painting this one over here.
I will be in outside of Buffalo at the beginning of the summer painting a bunch of cows. That's our first summer job is in Attica. We're creating a World Cow bike tour across Wyoming County where different towns are going to have World Cow murals. That's the first big project this summer. So we will be doing that, and I'll be doing that. But I would love that. For example, in Kansas and Texas, 2 different towns want murals. I have somebody I know in Texas, so in theory, could they go do it?
Yeah.
And I think we'll get there, but there's a lot involved when you paint these big cows.
Sure there is.
And I really do everything I can to make it look exactly like World Cow.
Yeah.
And so that has taken years of experience to make it look, you know, decent. And so it'll be
right
for the little ones, yes, but to get a big mural done, it's going to be hard to kind of put out a template there that anybody could follow, because stenciling big things like that is just not that easy.
Well, and Mother Nature is could be your biggest enemy. I
Always is.
Wind, elements, sunshine, probably more than anything else. Paints fade; they deteriorate. Even the best paints in the world do.
Yes, but there is.
Are you going to be 80 years old, going back and touching up some of these murals all around the world?
No, see, the good thing is once they're painted, anybody can touch it up. So once it's mapped out and it's all just paint by numbers, you could go with a black brush or a white brush and just touch up stuff that that has deteriorated. But if done right, those paintings shouldn't deteriorate for years and years and years, 20, 30 years. It should look like how it did today. Because we do use the best paints for the cow. Now, if the conditions are not ideal and something happens, which is, that's happened to me, I got to do that this year, fix one. It's always paint. You can always go back and fix it. You can always paint over it. You can so there could be maintenance on them, but it's for example, Burlington, somebody tagged that one. But the owner of that building was able to fix it. Got a little bit of red brick paint.
Yeah, sure.
And same with Vegas. They do get tagged sometimes, but I think the street art community, when they see murals like that, they try to respect it and tag around it.
What about a surface that's not ideal, clapboard or something where it's the texture is not right? Are we going to be inventing a stencil that is very different because when it goes onto something like clapboard, from a distance it looks perfect?
Right. Spray paint is pretty universal, I think, for covering. I mean, people paint rocks. People paint anything, stone, brick. I think that there's no surface you can't paint for the most part. For instance, the galvanized metal that I painted at the place in Montpelier, it used to be Allen Lumber, but now is it Riley? RK Miles.
Yep.
That was galvanized metal, and that has a special coat on it that is supposed to resist that bond in paint. So I used white vinegar to wash where the cow was going to be, to remove that layer, then painted it. But when I did the Burlington mural, that was 1700s brick. I believe the building we painted was one of the oldest buildings in downtown Burlington. It was on the historical. We had to go through all that process of is it okay to paint?
Sure.
And that required 2 days of masonry primer.
Oh my God!
And it was so porous and so old that it was just 2 days of work that I didn't even realize we were going to need to do.
Is this an oil-based paint?
I use for the big. So no. The big bucket paint that we use for the cows, like the big background white colors and everything. That is either Sherwin-Williams. They have it's Emerald is their top of the line exterior, and then Benjamin Moore, when we did the big one out west, that was their Aurora, their top of the line exterior there.
Are they throwing some love at the foundation?
Not yet. No,
come on, it's gotta happen.
I actually had talks with Sherwin-Williams about that because we were doing these everywhere, and I'm always using their stuff. But they stopped doing all sponsorships during that time when Texas had that cold winter and all the supply chain stuff for them got really hurt. So that was maybe just a bad timing. Maybe I should bring it back up. But even the local paint stores here will sponsor if I'm doing one here.
Right.
I know.
You looking for Barry, Vermont?
Bevins wants one on their garage door, so that would be the next one if I'm going to do one there. Hoping to stop by on my way home and talk to them.
Nice.
Got to make some more shirts. I have a lot of people screaming at me right now about that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about merch, hats, shirts, mugs, sweatshirts. What do you have?
Not much right now.
Okay,
it's a lot of sold out on the website. We were going real strong. I think I had 35 stores last year wholesaling, and but it's just that's all I was kind of doing. I was really focused on the retail wholesale, so I was doing that, keeping up on that. But now it's a different animal, so I need to get back into it.
Yeah.
That's kind of bread and butter, right?
Yeah,
I mean, merchandise like
Yes,
Star Wars.
sure.
That's sort of how you make. People always like, how do you make money doing this?
Yeah.
Merchandise.
Yeah,
I got
oh,
bumper
yeah.
stickers and
God.
T-shirts. But that's kind of one of the only ways you can. So it's not
Yes.
good. It's not good to drop the ball in that
Right.
one.
Have you been in touch with Mike Pelcher or any of the team over at Camp Meade? Do you have anything booked for this summer where we can see you in public?
I think the only thing in Vermont at this time would be the 150th anniversary of Tunbridge Fair that we're going to pencil in.
Okay.
But we're talking about doing a mural down there for that, and maybe a scavenger hunt and some other things.
Awesome.
We will do the Big Cow. We'll blow that up on the State House probably one of these days.
Yeah, we've done that in the past.
Yeah, we usually just pick a day in the summer to do that.
Do you have to get a permit for that?
No, that's super. If anybody ever wants to rent out the State House lawn, you basically send an email to their page, and somebody calls you back and says, "Yeah, sure, that sounds good. Just don't sell stuff."
Right.
So as long as it's not booked, it's really easy. You just can't sell things.
Right.
And you can't. I think there are some rules about having some big political agenda, but if you just wanted to do some big art install, they were very nice, and we've done it 2 years in a row now, so we got to do that.
There is so much political polarizing right now in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, you and I are probably right around the same age. Maybe I'm a little tad older than you. This is a crazy freaking world that we live in right now. We both have kids that are 7 years old. We both, I'm sure, have concerns of what their world will be like in another 20, 30 years. There's so much division. There's so much anger and frustration. Throw a global pandemic on top of all of it. The timing for something like this, to have World Cow in our world, which is not a political statement. It's just let's get drawn toward one another. Now we've got a war. We have gas prices that are through the roof. We have the feds have upped the interest rate. I mean, it's just one thing after another, and it's stacked deep on top of all of us right now.
It is,
and this is the time to have something like this.
It is. We need every excuse we can find to smile and also be grateful for the things we have, because we're not fleeing a country right now. And
that's it.
The politics here are pretty bad, and
Vermont and beyond our borders.
It is. I think that we need more art that is inspiring us to be hopeful for the future, and to also focus on bringing people closer together. So that's what World Cow's here to do. That's what the movement is doing. And because of those reasons that you said, how we're all stacked, everything's stacked against us these days, it is very important to have something that makes you smile and something that gives you hope. And people keep telling me, it's growing so well, and it seems apparent to everybody that it's taking off. Well, that's great then, for all of those reasons, that the world does need then we're creating a positive generator that is capable of at least lightening that load at times. I mean, we're not going to fix all those problems.
That's right.
But we can't, with World Cow, I can't really get involved with politics. We're all spots the same cow. And
that's it.
One thing with Ukraine is I get all these comments where people are like, take Russia off. And I'm like, do you know how many innocent, good people are in Russia that don't want this?
Exactly.
It's not the country Russia. It's, and so I think and so it is creating so much more division. And I feel terrible for all the good people in Russia that are now, they're probably being ashamed and having to deal with all this consequences.
Right.
It's a lose-lose situation. And
finally, somebody is saying that.
Yeah. I think the whole world has been pretty vocal about, supporting Ukraine, which is great to see. And it does make you wonder how long this will go on for, because it seems like any day it could stop.
Right.
With all that.
And not selling Russian vodka in the state of Vermont isn't going to really have an impact here.
Right. No, we have, like, Bar Hill makes a great vodka.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bar Hill.
Thank you, Bar Hill. That's right.
Yeah, it's a tough time. And, a lot of brands, they can't really come out and say, we support Ukraine, or some have to stay really neutral on war and politics. We'll avoid politics, but something like Ukraine, we really feel passionate about the message. We're all spots the same cow, and these are spots on that cow that are really in bad trouble right now.
That's right.
And having to flee. And so any opportunity, we feel that responsible to at least stand by that and do what we can. There's an interesting story in Springfield. The Springfield Booster Club reached out to me, and they have a Ukraine student there that they're fundraising for, and I sent them a painting for their raffle, a Ukraine World Cow painting. And I heard the governor might even go down to talk with them about it, but they're basically trying to do everything in their power to bring the family to Vermont. So the Ukraine student's here, but now they're trying to bring his family, and that's why the governor might get involved, all the logistics there of and Vermont has been great about accepting people when there's these specific events that refugees are coming in. Yeah. And so I know we've had some pretty good programs for that, especially Burlington area. So I can only imagine that hopefully our administration is working to help as many Ukraine people as they can to come here. So yeah, we will help anybody like that we can. I really hope that the NFTLA event's a big success, because that really could help launch the foundation and launch and do a significant donation to a variety of charities, even ones like the Springfield one that have a case close to home that hits your heart, but also to Save the Children and some of these bigger nonprofits that are really on the ground doing some amazing work. So
huge.
Yeah. So we have to try. We have to try to do what we can for that.
Have any Vermont businesses sent you an email saying, "Hey, we want to get in on what you're doing. We want to get involved. We want to maybe get our brand connected with your brand." Have you received an email from Unilever?
Not Unilever, no. And yeah, that's a sensitive subject. I think that Ben and Jerry's, for example, they had a Super Bowl commercial and Unilever's in Europe, where they had a defund police ad for the Super Bowl, basically running an ad, spending their money to tell America to defund the police, which I just saw something pretty bad about that. And I think they took a lot of backlash, and I think they've lost a lot of respect from Vermont. Unfortunately, they seem so detached from Vermont that I've reached out to them several times. And I even had Ben and Jerry's representative on the East Coast get back to me that was in marketing. And they're 100% focused on social injustice, and they gave me such a blunt no. They had no desire to work with World Cow. And, but that's okay, because World Cow can make our own ice cream. And I go for the no. I get told no thousands of times. I've been rejected in proposal after proposal. You always hear that, and you just roll with it, because the next one could be the yes. And it's their loss. But just to answer your question, I did talk with Darn Tough Socks recently, and they're thinking about it. So that would be really a bucket list item for me to have a World Cow sock, and one thing that I don't have and haven't seen yet. So that would be really close to work with. That would be really cool. I meant to work with Darn Tough Socks.
Yeah.
I probably am wearing them right now.
I am too. I have several drawers and bins, frankly, of their socks at home.
Plus, animals on socks do really well and have been a trend in the sock industry.
Yes.
But not that I'm an expert.
Yeah.
But working with companies like that at home, there's nothing better than seeing two Vermont brands come together to collaborate. And
yes, agreed.
You know, a lot of brands like Vermont Teddy Bear Company, when some viral Bernie Sanders meme with mittens happens, all those brands, you know, they might jump on that, but in 2 weeks that was gone. Yep. World Cow has gotten so strong and grown for years that, and like you said, how much has gone in the last year. In a couple of years from now, how big will it be?
Right.
And so
look at what you've done in 1 year, dude.
And that's why I think that, you know, I think that they should talk with me, and I think that we should, even Vermont Tourism. How cool would it be to have a World Cow sculpture at all the rest stops that the kids could take photos with and see? And of course, I just think there's so much opportunity to work with this state, and it's hard to balance now that I'm getting pulled all around the world.
Right.
And that's going to be a challenge, just because Vermont's always going to be my roots and my heart. But there's big sock companies that are interested outside of Vermont, and there's you know, I'm already talking with some very large dairy companies that are interested. So. Bigger, way bigger than ones here, but yet I would much rather do business at home if I could.
Here in Vermont.
I'd love to. And, you know, it's just, we always help each other out. That's the community we have here.
That's right.
That should be in business.
Yeah,
so,
of course
it's always a priority for me, but things move fast with World Cow, and I have to, you know, basically, be open to working with anybody. Like I said, the creamery in Georgia wants to make World Cow shirts. So I said, that's awesome.
Your humility carries you very, very well, I think, also.
Thank you.
Really do.
Thank you.
And we've had some comments on that, too. But, you know, I think of these communities, and there's some towns in Connecticut, and there's, I think, Shelburne or Ferrisburg is one of them, where you're driving down the road and you've got this beautiful horse that's it looks like it's ceramic, but I don't think it is. But it's just painted with all these beautiful colors. That would be amazing to have one of those of the World Cow. At all the rest stops.
Yeah, I and you can get molds. They're about for a cow mold. You see them painted. They do the cow parade, and I think it was like $1,200 or $1,500 for one of those molds.
Yeah,
and then you could just paint it kind of like how we did here in Barrie with all the cars and the dogs. That was awesome. Splash.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hope they do that again, because that was really cool going through Barrie and seeing all those sculptures. I mean, you already have the most sculptures, so you get to see all that cool stuff anyways.
Right. But we can't have the billboards, so you know, we might as well have something like that.
Yeah, you have a lot of wall space.
That's right. That's right. Wow. You know, dude, it just to wrap up, you know, what you're doing for Vermont is remarkable. What you're doing for the world, frankly, is remarkable. But I think probably one of the biggest takeaways here is what you're doing for your daughter is absolutely massive. You're leaving her already your legacy, and something that she is going to be able to carry with her for the rest of her life, which is, to me, more impressive than anything else. It's really amazing.
And I think thank you. And I think you hit the nail on the head there, because at the end of the day, all this work, if you make one person smile, or you make one person believe in kindness, or, you know, breathe that kindness.
Sure.
Evelyn breathes it every day, so we can see how kind of a person she is towards her peers. But at the end of the day, if just one person smiled, you know, after all the work that I did that day, that's all that matters. And I think when you really look at things with a microscope, just that positive moment in one person, if you could touch one person and help them, you know, through something, or give them a smile, then all the big stuff and the hurricane and the chaos, that's that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Very well said. Good luck in Vegas. I'm sorry, L.A.
Thank you.
Which is hopefully coming up Friday. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch your Facebook page very carefully. We are so, on behalf of Vermonters everywhere, watching, listening. We are so proud to have you in our state, in our communities. Someone who loves the state, isn't planning on going anywhere, and you're a rock star, dude. You're famous with everything that you've done, and I think you're barely scratching the surface here. I think don't forget about us now. Don't forget
Thanks,
about
JD.
this. We hope you come back.
I will definitely be back. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Absolute
Thank you.
pleasure as well. DJ Barry from World Cow. This time around on Aired Out. Seems like we get them once a year, and I'm sure that that next year is going to be buckle up. Thank you for coming in, my man.
Thank you.